Nicki was right about Roc Nation going bankrupt,
my overhead $250 million a year. We needed $40 million just to stay alive.
leaked home surveillance footage from July of 2023, founder of Roc Nation, Desiree Perez, confirmed everything Nicki Minaj was saying about the company possibly going bankrupt.
Trump issued a bunch of pardons. Desiree Perez, who is the CEO of Roc Nation Records.
And Beyonce was caught brushing elbows figuratively with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. The fact that there are no ethical billionaires, y'all. Jay-Z is in real time working to push forward that project. Remember that one, right?
Now that Beyonce and Jay-Z have officially been spotted having dinner with the Trumps, when are we going to apologize to Nicki for being right?
All right, y'all. So there are some new reports making the rounds saying that Beyonce is allegedly working behind the scenes to end Nicki Minaj from the music industry and stop her from releasing future albums. And according to these reports, it supposedly has to do with Nicki going full MAGA at a recent event with Erika Kirk. But here's where it gets messy. Nicki's fans are not buying that explanation at all. They're saying this has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with Nicki trying to expose Roc Nation's alleged RICO crimes. The Barbs are also pointing out that Beyonce and Jay-Z were recently seen cozying up to Trump's daughter Ivanka and her husband, all because Jay-Z wants to build a casino and gentrify another New York neighborhood. And then on top of all that, there's also the fact that Trump was the one who pardoned Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez. And yes, Beyonce did endorse Kamala, but ever since Trump's been back in office, she seems to have switched her opinions. In fact, it looks like the Carters are continuing to move comfortably behind the scenes with the Trumps and the Kushners. So Nicki's supporters are now saying, how can Beyonce and Jay-Z criticize Nicki when they're just like every other mega rich celebrity couple, putting profit over everything while staying quiet on all the BS that is happening? And that leads to the bigger question. Did Nicki start leaning into MAGA because she got word that Roc Nation was allegedly trying to destroy her career? Or is there something else going on behind the scenes? Because the timing of all this is definitely interesting, and there's clearly more to unpack here.
Wonder if any of the people that Roc Nation co-founder Desiree Perez put in a federal penitentiary got released early, or if they were pardoned by Donald Trump.
There are reports circulating claiming that Beyonce has allegedly kicked off a campaign to freeze Nicki Minaj out of the industry. After it was recently announced that Beyonce will be co-chairing the 2026 Met Gala, an insider alleged that Beyonce made it clear that Nicki would not be welcome. Basically, the claim is that Beyonce gave the Met an ultimatum. Nicki cannot attend if Beyonce is involved. But that's not even where it ends. There are more claims floating around that Beyonce is also allegedly warning people in the music industry not to work with Nicki at all. Now, sources close to the Carters are pushing the narrative that Beyonce feels Nicki praising Trump and aligning herself with Erika Kirk crossed a line and is simply unforgivable. But that does not make sense because Beyonce and Jay-Z have friendships with Trump. They're convinced that this has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with revenge. According to them, this is the Carters' response to Nicki allegedly trying to go against Roc Nation and publicly call out its controversial CEO, Desiree Perez. Back in 2021, Desiree received a pardon from Trump for her involvement in the 1994 conspiracy to distribute illegal substances. And it wasn't a small amount either. Desiree was caught with 35 kilos of that stuff and charged for being part of an organized ring stretching from New York to Florida to Puerto Rico. Now, normally in cases like that, feds don't just let people off the hook, especially when it's not a solo situation, but part of an organized crime group. So word on the street is that Desiree may have cooperated with the federal authorities and provided information on her crew. Now, most of the articles on this have been scrubbed from the internet, but you can still find some receipts. There's this cover story that claims Desiree wore a wire after feds busted her. And then there's this 2014 article from the New York Daily News that's now been deleted saying a June 11th, 1996 court hearing obtained by the News shows the feds were pleased with their star mole. The defendant has really worked closely with these agents. Assistant U.S. Attorney Lawrence Bardfeld told a judge that day, arguing to keep Perez out of jail. And what really gets people talking is the timing, because after all that, Jay-Z went on to elevate Desiree to CEO of Roc Nation. And that's why Nicki's fans feel there's way more history and tension here than what's being said publicly. That's not all. See, Desiree didn't just make one mistake 30 years ago. According to Nicki, she's been involved in all types of shady things since Jay-Z made her president of the company. And the latest case involves Desiree's estranged daughter, Damori Hadley. Damori is suing Desiree for allegedly orchestrating an involuntary psychiatric commitment, and she claims that Desiree falsely claimed she was mentally unstable. According to Damori, Desiree took advantage of Florida's Baker and Marchman Acts to have her detained in a facility.
I tried 3 times to try to figure out how to institutionalize me. The first time was the incident on September 14th, 2023. She's trying to leave. She's not letting me leave. I had to call the police because she closed the electrical gate. She whispered in my ear, threatened me, called Javon the N-I-G-G-E-R word, which I will not say, and tells me, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to have you committed. And away from that N-I-G-G-E-R, she's hitting me, punching me from not hopping the gate. My poor dog. I'm trying to not drop my dog. Pinecrest police comes, forces her to open the door, and she tries telling them she's suicidal. And I'm like, what? So they separate everybody. They ask me questions, and they're like, nothing is wrong with this girl. You guys are holding her against her will. Help me call an Uber, document everything, and tell me I'm free to go. That was the first time.
Okay.
The second time was Dr. Rachel Bernstein at Iconic. And then Javon's arrest happened a week after. And then the third time that they were successful was the Marchman Act.
And then Damori also called out Jay-Z, saying he completely turned a blind eye to all this, even though Desiree allegedly used Roc Nation employees to spy on her daughter.
Sean Carter, investigate your team. Investigate your management team. He hasn't addressed this not once. I understand it's not his business, but I think you should start looking into the people that you hire and the people that are involved in this, because if my freedoms were hindered and my civil rights were violated and I'm her daughter, then you need to be concerned as the second owner of this business to make sure that it's not happening currently to other people.
Now that alone is disturbing, but it gets even darker when you look at what Damori claims was the real reason Desiree allegedly tried to have her committed. According to Damori's lawsuit, she said Desiree launched a full-on campaign against her just because she married a black man. In the filing, Damori claims Desiree told her, "I'm going to Baker Act you if you stay with that N-word. I will have you committed." By the way, Florida's Baker and Marchman Acts are laws that allow people to be involuntarily taken for evaluation or treatment in certain situations. But these laws are extremely controversial because they allow people to lose their freedom based on subjective judgments about their behavior. And if it weren't for Nicki, most people would have never even heard about Damori's lawsuit against Desiree because this didn't get any mainstream media coverage. Actually, a lot of folks out there don't even know who Desiree is or how closely tied she is to Jay-Z, despite all the shady things in her past. So Nicki calling attention to this mess has really shone a light on Roc Nation's inner circle and put Desiree under the microscope. And get this, Damori later said that what happened to her is what is now allegedly happening to Nicki. And she alleged that Roc Nation tried to silence Nicki, went after her family, and even targeted her child.
I think she's standing up for me because she has been through some trauma and some abuse with Roc Nation, with Desiree Perez, with other individuals. They've abused her. They've abused of her platform. They've abused of her talents. They've abused of her freedom of speech. They've abused her family. They've attacked her husband. They've attacked her child.
Damori went on to say that she sees a lot of parallels between her own situation and what Nicki is going through. She said the whole thing is frightening because Roc Nation apparently has way more power behind the scenes than most people even realize.
Roc Nation, my mother Desiree Perez, all these law firms, Quinn and Emanuel, Reed Smith, they have a lot of money and connections and resources. It's really sad. Somebody so resourceful, talented, high profile as Nicki Minaj being targeted. It should really scare the American people. It should really scare you guys too, right? Because I'm the daughter. So it's like at this point, if it's happening to me, I think she's really outspoken, and I'm grateful that she's being outspoken on it, because I think she's almost seeing it like, well, it happened to me, it's happening to her, let me speak up on it. Nobody is safe right now.
And then Nicki herself spoke about this on X and wrote, "To the PMs who claim it wasn't made clear to your ugly ass, hopefully Damori's massive and detailed page-by-page claim gets you all the way caught up. And never call me a liar. Never insinuate it either. Every single angel ever created fights for me at the mere mention of that word as it relates to me. Vengeance is the Lord's. Be careful. No one who conspired on the wrong side will go unpunished for the role they play in this movie. publicity. I hope it was all worth it. And this is why Nicki's fans are now saying that this isn't just about Beyonce wanting to punish Nicki for cozying up to MAGA. It's revenge and exposing people who think they're untouchable. So depending on who you believe, this is either about political lines being crossed or a much deeper industry power play happening behind the scenes. Well, now I want to hear from y'all. What do you think is really going on here? Is there something deeper behind the scenes that we're not seeing? And do you think Nicki leaning into MAGA has anything to do with her beef with Roc Nation? Drop all your theories in the comments. And don't miss this next video.